Okay, uh, you're welcome to our 26th Hangout. Um, yeah, we're doing the Hangout a bit early today because I would not be available at the usual time. Yeah, so that's how come it's earlier than usual. But yeah, the recordings would be here after the stream is done, so you can always just rewatch it. Okay, so let's get started. Today's Hangout is about getting more done with Leaf. Um, yeah, okay. So I've already posted that. Yeah, so we're just basically going to look at what happened in Leave this week, um, and then answer some questions from last week's stream. So if you missed it, last week we tried we tried to build a SaaS um in an R. I think we used an R15 instead of an R, but we kind of got it done one way or the other. So what we did was an online marketplace, and I have the code available on my GitHub, so you can always just refer to it if you need uh, an example or something like that. Okay, so yeah, Leaf Marketplace. So it was basically just a marketplace, but then we threw in subscriptions. So you have to be subscribed to basically use it. So we used the billing middleware from Leaf Billing. And then we also threw in a wait list. So you needed to have, an invite, basically like a waitlist invite to sign up before you could use the application. And then that was done using the scaffold from um Hello. So PHP Leaf scaffold waitlist. Um, so yeah, we also used waitlist middleware. We looked at updating that middleware to include other routes. So I think we included the pricing page and a few more. So basically, we tried to do all of this stuff in an hour, and we barely missed the mark. So if you've not checked it out, please do. There's basically a rundown of Leaf MVC4, database stuff, models, views. We used React with inertia. That's kind of my favorite stuff to build, but the default is Blade, so Laravel's Blade. We kind of made a port of that using Jen Sager's Blade library. So basically, you can use Laravel's Blade. That's basically all I'm saying. And then that's the default with Leaf MVC. And there are a ton of functions you can use if you choose to build that way. So the documentation is all here. You can kind of like do all of this, use your regular Blade directives and a few more that we threw in. Yeah, so basically that's building with Leaf MVC4. This week we had a few bugs that I wasn't able to check out on our Discord. I wasn't actually able to check them out, try to replicate them on my end. But basically, people were having issues with Smarty, which is a different templating engine for Leaf. Smarty PHP. Um, yeah, so if you use PHP for quite a while, you've probably used Smarty at least once. Um, it's not exactly everybody's favorite templating engine because it's kind of a lot of weird stuff in it, but it gets the job done. So basically, Leaf allows you to kind of bring your own templating engine into Leaf MVC. I mean, with Leaf itself, it's basically pretty simple. Just register it. I think with what's the documentation for the other engines here? So you just kind of attach Vue, and then Leaf would basically just do the rest. Um, yeah, but then with Leaf MVC version 4, you kind of have to go through all of this, like teaching Leaf MVC how to work with whatever templating engine you're bringing in. And then from there, you can use it just like you would. So you can response, render, and any other view function from Leaf, and it will just work with Smarty. But then there was an issue here, which I wasn't able to check out, which probably going to do pretty soon. But then basically the fix for that, at least from what I got back, the fix was to use instead of App Smarty or any other thing you configured, you could. I think App Smarty would work for Leaf, I think. But then with Leaf MVC, you would have to use app template. So basically, I'm just find a route. Yeah, you basically just have to call app template instead of the regular anything you've registered over here. So that's kind of the fix for now. I haven't actually checked it out, but um, from the feedback I got from both cases, that was kind of the fix for them. So every time you register a templating engine, Leaf creates this template function, which returns the instance of whatever templating engine you're using. So if you've run into this issue, you should probably try this out. It's done automatically. Um, yeah, so you don't have to worry about that. If you put your templating engine here or you register it with, I think, attach view, then that should be done for you. I think. Kind of forgotten how that works, but yeah, that just happened. So that was a little something that popped up this week. Um, Another thing was I think I was going through my mail and then I kind of just noticed this. So let me just hop over to the Leaf um organization, and I haven't checked this in a while, so there would probably be quite a number of discussions waiting for me. Um, yeah, I would have to go there. But anyway, so there was this I don't know what to call it, like a little task I created almost a year ago. Just before I started working on Leaf full time. I was kind of like reviewing everything, and then there was this particular thing that kept catching my attention. Um, so Leaf does a lot of stuff for our error handler. So if you check, I think the debugging documentation, debugging. There we go. Yeah, so we kind of do a lot for our whole error handling stuff because we try to make it as dynamic as possible. So by default, you get a page like this, which basically is a fork of, I think, whoop, should probably add like PHP to that. Yeah, so we made a fork of this and kind of adapted it to Leaf. Not just the UI, but some other things as well. So basically, it just kind of is tailored to Leaf, but then it was originally a fork of this. Yeah, so that's kind of what we use for error handler. But then we kind of cheated a bit in a way that you can always just override this. You can kind of customize it to your own liking. So then you can, I don't remember. I think error handling. Yeah, error handling is what the page I'm looking for. Okay, so you can always just, depending on where you are, if you're in debug mode or if you're in production mode, you can always just override this with upset error handler, and then we display your page instead of ours. And then even with this, there's a different page for if you're in debug mode or if you are in what do you even call that? If you're in production. So we show a different page just so that we don't um show errors in production basically. But then all of it is pretty much the same error handler, whether we are displaying yours or we are displaying the production error handler or this error handler. It's kind of all the same. Um, and I think the maintenance handler too. I'm not so sure about that, but kind of. But then the whole point is it kind of takes away um, an additional 3.5k requests per second. That's like 3,500 requests per second. I think in some tests it was like 4,000. In some tests it was like 2, 3. So this is basically an average. And we were kind of losing all of that performance just because of the error handler. Yeah, but then I put this down as something to look at, but totally forgot to check it out again. You can kind of see it's a draft over here. So yeah, that's something I noticed. So Jay kind of brought this up again, and it's something I really totally forgotten about. But then he suggested using an A plus framework, which I hadn't heard of until today. Um, Yeah, and it seems to be a pretty lightweight error handler, which kind of has some of the stuff we do for our handler. So then that's something worth taking a look at. But then I don't know if performance wise it would completely solve the problem. Um, yeah. So this is kind of like the one major case in Leaf where we did something I wouldn't call it stupid because it does exactly what it's supposed to do, as in it's dynamic, it's flexible, allows you to override it and then work with whatever error handler you like or you prefer. I mean, so it does its job. It's just that we sacrifice a whole lot of performance to do that, and that's the problem because 3,500 requests per second is a lot. That is a lot. I think base leave does about 4,000, 4,500 requests per second. I think I'm not so sure, but it's somewhere along there. So then this is basically just stripping away half of Leaf's performance. Um, yeah. So yeah, that was something I just saw today, and it's something I need to check out. So I mean, hopefully in the next version of Leaf, we have a lot more performance than we currently do. But yeah, that's just something I had totally forgotten about. So that actually really caught my attention and was worth sharing with you guys for probably the next version of Leaf. I don't know. We'll see how that goes. Um, yeah. Okay. So those are the two major things that caught my attention this week. There's a few more things, but I think um, yeah, I think these kind of like took, like were on top of everything on my list. Anyway, I wasn't able to look at either of them because I actually saw the second one just today, and the other issue I haven't yet been able to take a look at it, but I will. So yeah. Um, okay. So I had a few questions from last week's demo about the building a SaaS thing. Um, and the first question was actually kind of something I expected. It was about how feasible this whole scaffold idea was. Because from what we built last week, they all worked pretty fine for our use case, but then they weren't exactly complete solutions. And yes, that was kind of intentional because all that we do is, so let's take authentication for example. All that we do is we create a login for you, a register, kind of like setup for you. I think we set up middleware to and a few things. But then basically in the end, um, no application is the same. And then that's actually kind of like how we built Leaf. Like no application is the same. So your framework shouldn't exactly be the same. Yeah. Um that's how come we kind of tailored Leaf for to have a micro framework version, an MVC version, an MVC version for APIs. By even taking a feature like authentication, you could have authentication in pretty much any way you want. You could have authentication with account verification and all of that stuff. But then the whole point is you can do all of that with Leaf. Um, we leave everything open-ended because we have no idea what you are going to do with your application. So we can only set up so much for you. We set up a good starting point for you. So we do that with authentication. We do that with the landing page stuff, um, subscriptions. From last week's video, if you watched last week's video, we kind of left the callback section pretty much open because I mean all we can do is take the subscription, handle the subscription logic for you. But then in the end, you have to grant the user um, permission to use your app. I don't know. You have to give the user some kind of feature. In the case of like one-time purchases, you have to for application we wouldn't what we built last week, we wouldn't want users to be able to buy the same items twice. So for a handler, we could do something like maybe deleting that post or something like that. But basically, the end logic all kind of falls back to you. All we can do is take care of all of the annoying logic for you, like setting up the product on Stripe, the webhooks, all of that annoying stuff. We can do that for you, but then in the end, your application is your application, and it's different from any application anyone else kind of maybe is building somewhere else. So in the end, the last logic does fall back to you. So is it feasible? Was the question. Yes, it's actually very feasible. And I would be showing you an example that I've been kind of working on with a few folks today. Okay. So before that, let's talk about Leaf all over again. The whole deal with Leaf 4 was to help makers, people that just want to build stuff, build them really, really fast. So we give you the tools we think you'd need and code that kind of stays out of your way. Um, as opposed to what you get with other frameworks like Laravel, where you have everything dumped on you. I mean, that does work, but then basically you are free to choose whatever philosophy you want to use for application. We give you lightweight performance code. You pick and choose what you want. You can pull stuff out of the framework if you don't like it. You can switch to something completely new, even something Leaf doesn't provide, if you want it, basically. Um, the whole point with Leaf is you are free to do whatever you want. Kind of. We do give you some structure with Leaf MVC, but then even with that, you're kind of still free to do anything you want. You can just install any PHP library, put it in Leaf MVC, and there's like a 99% chance that it would work perfectly fine. So in a sense, you are free to do whatever you want. That might not exactly be the case with other frameworks like Symfony and Laravel, but we want to give you 100% control. But then I was thinking, Leaf is for developers, but then the goal is to help everyone kind of like ship their ideas faster, even for developers. Um, so what if you don't have the expertise to build something for yourself, like an e-commerce store or something, to just sell something really quick? And so I just decided to work on a little CMS for people like that. Um, yeah. So basically, I've been working on a little CMS and using all of the features in Leaf, as many as I could, because maybe the code will go open source. So you could also use that as a reference in building your application. Um, so yeah, I have been working on Cell. You might or might not have seen it in a previous Hangout. Basically, Cell is an online store. Okay, not an online store. Cell gives you the ability to sell online, really quick, really fast. No setup, no plenty complications, no annoying payment stuff going on. So basically, you skip all of the annoying things with Stripe, Lemon Squeezy, all of those other online platforms. The whole idea is you are given a free online store. So you create your products, add them, and then basically people can buy. And yeah, I've been working on it for just a little bit. I think just about 2 months, but then it's been on and off because I had to pause on that to work on Leaf features as well. Yeah. So basically at a glance you can see this is pretty much the exact same landing page you get with your with your Leaf scaffold landing page. This is pretty much the same thing you get over here. Um, Same for login, pretty much the same thing, just themed differently. Same thing for your what do you even call this? Your wait list. Yeah, so this application is 100% using everything Leaf gives us and nothing more. So yeah, basically, this is feasibility or my reply to feasibility in terms of like all of the scaffolding stuff Leaf gives you. So yeah, I literally spent zero time working on any of this. This was all Leaf and me just steaming it. But basically, Cell is almost done, and I am kind of like starting onboarding for this. And by the way, it's 100% free. This is all free. We're not selling anything over here. I mean, we're giving you the chance to sell stuff, but then this is um yeah, it's 100% free. In the future, there might be something, but it's 100% free right now. All that you pay is the Stripe processing fees, and then Sell takes a 2% commission. Basically, that's it. Um, yeah, so 100% free. So yeah, we are starting on board, and you can add your emails in here, and then we'll send you an invite when all of that stuff is done. Invites were actually supposed to go out today, Friday. Yeah, but then there are still a few things we have to take care of. So yeah. So just leave your email and then you get an invite later. But then the whole idea with this is you don't have to set up any crazy payment stuff. You don't have to go through Stripe, stringent KYC, all of that stuff, just to sell a few products online. We take care of all of that stuff for you, and then you focus on selling. So I think I had like a sample store. Um, oh, by the way, um, with creating stores, you can also go through and totally customize your experience or your user's experience. I should probably have a full demo for this, which I will later. Um, but for now, you're free to go to sell.online and then just pop in your email. You can read through. There are a few things here. We'll probably add more details later. But yeah, so this was also built 100% with React and Inertia and Leaf. Yeah, basically. So you kind of get an online store here. So this is a bit of a customization I did. Let me just pop up the local version. I'm kind of, I think I might even have this running already. Okay. Yeah, so there's quite a lot of stuff from Leaf I'm using. Workers, Redis, all of those stuff. But then they all come from Leaf, as I mentioned before. Um, and then for the database stuff, I decided to try something really stupid. But then it actually did work. So I was trying a database from Laravel Cloud because I wanted to leverage their serverless Postgres. Yeah. So yeah, that did kind of work surprisingly. So yeah, I'm actually running a database from Laravel Cloud. Application is hosted on fly.io. Oh, and by the way, would okay, so this is another thing I've kind of been keeping away from you guys. But I've been working on a little deploy command from I think in version 3 or version 2, the Leaf CLI had a deploy command, so you could just kind of type like leaf deploy, something like that. You could do something like let me just pop the new terminal. Right, so you could always just type something like leaf deploy. I think that's just to Heroku, something like this. But then it only supported Heroku, I think. Yeah, so I've been kind of working on something which would kind of to bring this back. That would allow you to deploy to other places. For now, I am using Fly, so definitely Fly would be number one. But then there is also Digital Ocean, and I'm looking at a few more popular destinations that people used to deploy their stuff to. So what it does is it sets up all of the annoying stuff. So in the case of Fly, I had to set up a fly.terminal file with a bunch of other stuff very specific to Fly. So using leave deploy to Fly would basically set up all of this stuff for you, including I think Fly already has GitHub actions, so we don't have to set that up for you. And then we do the same for any other platform you choose. If we have to Dockerize stuff, we do that for you as well. So that's what the fly, sorry, that's what the leave deploy command would do. Basically, set up everything required for deployment. I think currently during the setup process with Leaf, we ask you if you want to set up Docker. But then we'll do that again for the deploy stuff. So if you can have your application working normally and then only have to deal with Docker on deploy. So that would be an option for the leave deploy command. So yeah, pretty fun stuff. Pretty fun stuff over here. So for a little demo, I don't think this is much of a demo because there's still quite a few stuff I have to figure out about the database stuff. But anyway, forget about that. The whole idea is you'd be able to basically add new products. And yeah, that's actually going to take a while because my database is far away from my current location. So online, it's actually really fast. You don't have to deal with that because the database and the application are in the same region. But then currently, my database is like super far away from me. So I have to deal with it. So you wouldn't. Anyway, so yeah, the whole idea is you can basically just add products. I should have done this from the beginning, but anyway, you get the idea. It's basically just a CMS. So usually what you get with a CMS is exactly what you get with Excel. The only difference is after you create a store, you get a free cell store. So in my case, this is my store hosted at my store.cell.store basically, and every store would have that as well. And as I mentioned, it's completely free, so you don't have to pay for anything. This is all just done for you. Um, yeah. So onboarding is starting pretty soon. So just pop in your email, and then would give you would give you an invite basically. Because we have the waitlist stuff here, you are not able to access any of the other pages um without going through the waitlist. So that's another feature from Leave, which we looked at last week. So yeah, basically everything that was used in Cell is 100% from Leaf. There is zero custom code. I mean, obviously models and stuff like that. This is pretty much the code. It pretty much might go open source. So it's yeah, I guess you'd be able to clone this, self-host it if you want to, or just use this. The decision is yours, I guess. Okay. So yeah, besides the view stuff, which is like 100% React, and then models, controllers, every other thing is 100% Leaf. There are some folders I never had to touch, like authentication, that was 100% done for me. Billing, 90% done for me. Um, Waitlist stuff, all done for me. I didn't have to edit any of that code. Nothing at all. Basically, a lot of it was done for Leaf by Leaf. So for those wondering how feasible what we did last week is, it is 100% feasible. You just have to tie up the loose end. Um, yeah. Okay. Yeah, and I think last week we also looked at modifying this page. So basically, once you type the scaffold subscriptions command, you get a billing component that looks like this. But then if your application has a different billing look, like for me, in terms of billing, I used the default. Okay, weird. So I was just probably sleeping or something. Anyway, so I used the default pricing components that you get with the landing page scaffold, which is this one here. So you can basically just modify the code to match anything you want. There's not like you're stuck with anything. Leaf gives you all of the front end stuff in whatever front end you're using. If you're using Blade, you get a Blade component, Vue, Civils, React, and then you can just modify it to whatever UI you want. And it's the same everywhere. With the landing page, you get it in Blade, React, Civil, same thing here. So basically, Leaf doesn't just throw you any random code. We give you kind of like exactly what. Um, I wish I could go through more of the code here, but then I'll probably do that on a different Hangout. Volume is low. Um, Weird, because it looks really high over here. Okay, let me just move the microphone a bit. Maybe it should help. Okay. Yeah, so I was just talking about the feasibility of using these scaffold stuff in your application, in production, all of that stuff. And an example was this, which you can sign up for, by the way, today. Just go to sell.online, which for whatever reason has just decided to. Okay, never mind. That was just an intermittent thing. Just go to sell.online and then pop in your domain, and then you get a free store where you can sell stuff online. So that was an example I was given to. That was completely built using stuff you get from the Leaf scaffold. So in terms of feasibility, it is very feasible. And then we are going to get a lot more stuff coming soon. So there's the blog where you'll be able to scaffold an entire blog, admin panel, API dashboard, and other stuff also coming soon. And then I talked about the leaf deploy command that would also set up Docker or any other thing you need to be able to deploy your Leaf application to any platform. I mean, right now it's pretty much just PHP code. So you can probably just drag and drop this to a shared hosting platform. You may or may not need to configure your application based on the provider you're using. Because with some shared hosting providers, you have to keep the public folder in their public folder, meaning the rest of your application will be kind of like one level higher. But yeah, it just depends on it. It's pretty much just PHP. It looks like a lot, but most of these files are just useless JavaScript stuff. And whenever you run your build command, they are all compiled. So basically, in the end, you are left with your public folder. I have to run my dev command because I'm using Vite with React, Tailwind, all of that stuff. But if I was just building a regular Leaf application, there would be no need for a build command. Yeah, so that's just a little something. Okay, so that's about Cell. If you're interested, just pop your email in here, and you'll get an invite as soon as we're ready. I talked about using Laravel Cloud for my database. I was going to try Neon, but then I just decided I think Laravel Cloud databases are from Neon, NeonDB, Neon.tech. So I was just going to create a database there directly, but then for whatever reason I just decided against it. Um, yeah. Anyway, so I have no idea. Okay, something just popped in. Logged in as admin, view users, take a user, hit a button to log in as a user instead of needing to log out of admin. Nope. There's a trick for this, which is kind of something I don't recommend at all because you'll be playing around with the session. So basically, Misha is asking about swapping out sessions. So you're logged in as a user, you can click on the button to log in as a different user. So Leaf basically stores your session inside obviously the PHP session, which other frameworks don't do for some reasons. Anyway, you can basically just swap out the session. Yeah, it's kind of something I don't recommend. I really, really don't recommend it, but uh, you can. I mean, I don't recommend it, but yeah, you really can't do it. So basically, you can save your old session, something like old session, and then you can kind of like session, basically, something like that. I've forgotten where exactly Leaf saves the session. I think it's like auth or something like that. I really don't remember, but it might be like maybe Leaf auth or something like that. I really, really, really don't remember where it is. But you can just save the old auth session, sign in as the new user using like auth login, which will just replace the new session. And then when you're done, you can just swap the session back using, I think, like session set or something like that. Yeah, basically, I don't recommend it because I am not so sure about security. I think that would be my major concern. It does work. I've seen this done a couple of times, and I've had to do this, but then I really, really, really don't recommend it. It might be something worth looking into. I don't know about I don't know about that, but it'll be that user and then go back here. Yeah, so basically it's 100% possible. I just don't recommend the method I just showed. I would probably look into this because Leaf does save some information about sessions, like we generate session tokens and all of that stuff. So yeah, it's actually possible for Leaf to do that for you. But then using this particular method, I really, really, really don't suggest it. But yeah, that's the easiest way to get it done. The only thing is you should always remember to swap back the sessions when you're done, else you still have, like that same session information. Yeah, so it's possible. It's actually possible. Basically, a lot of things you do with PHP, PHP without a framework, a lot of those stuff actually still work with Leaf. Um, yeah. So I think so. Let's take like very basic stuff like I think sessions and cookies. So with sessions, I think Laravel doesn't use the native PHP sessions. I think Taylor gave some reasons why they don't do that. I really don't remember the reasons, but yeah, he actually gave some reasons why they don't do that. But yeah, Leaf just uses the default stuff. The reason we do that is we don't want to mess up your application in a way. So if you, for whatever reason, maybe for like testing purposes or um, maybe with a different library, you have something set like maybe session, some random information here. We want you to still be able to do something like session, and you should be able to get that same information. Um, and then it's the same with cookies, with um, other stuff. All of the HTTP functions are 100% compatible with all of PHP's default stuff. So if you have something from like I think maybe server request something, you can use request to get it. Um, Basically everything is 100% compatible with PHP's um, session server cookie APIs, even EMV stuff too. So if you have something in underscore EMV, you can use I've totally forgotten this function. I think it's underscore EMV. Leave us on underscore EMV here. And the reason we made the underscore EMV instead of the regular EMV is a lot of PHP libraries have this EMV here. So we didn't want to kind of conflict with any prior name. And so I think even in Leaf MVC you can that's available. I think it's available from one of the Laravel stuff we use. Yeah, but basically anything you do with PHP, it's like 100% compatible with Leaf. It's just if you use the Leaf functions, you have things like security already taken care of for you. So basic things like cross-site scripting, injection attacks, all of those stuff are already taken care of for you. So we kind of do a lot of filtering on top of the regular PHP stuff, just to make them safer for you to use. Which is why we always recommend using request, response, session instead of the regular PHP stuff, although they are still 100% compatible. Um, the whole reason is Leaf already has like security in mind, and then in some cases caching, and then some other stuff like that. But yeah, you can always just do something like echo this, and it will still work. 100%. Leave doesn't force you to do. Just do it. Just do it. Because I mean, with this, if you have something um like some nasty JavaScript code sent in a request, and you do something like how do you even get stuff with PHP? Huh, that's well, I actually can't believe I had to think about that. I haven't written this in a while. You know, like stuff with like post. So if you have like some random data coming into your application and you do this, basically anyone can just inject any data in there. And it's the same with like your database stuff and all of that. But then Leaf just automatically sanitizes every single thing for you, which is why Bare UI is even feasible in the first place. Because so if you don't know about it, we have a templating engine called Bare UI, which is exactly as it sounds. It is like the bare minimum PHP stuff. So basically, the same shitty code we said you should not write, like this, which is, like unsecure by default, is the same code you'd write in Bare UI, which is 100% something you should not do. But then the only reason it works in Bare UI is because Leaf already sanitizes pretty much all of the data you'd use. So um, yeah, we kind of take care of all of that stuff for you. Because like in a regular templating engine with something like Blade, if you let me just pop up a Blade template right now. I think this should like an index of Blade. Huh, I don't have any template. Okay. So in a Blade template like this, if I do something like hello or something like that, Blade will sanitize this in a cache storage, I think framework views, and then you would find that data cached looking like this, and then basically a lot of stuff. Um, yeah, but then you don't have to do that with Bare UI because of all that Leaf does for you, basically. I actually don't remember what I was talking about before I entered all of this. Huh. Anyway, um, yeah, I really have no idea what I was talking about before I got into Bare UI. But anyway, that's just to let you know, Leaf is like 100% compatible with PHP, so you won't have any issues where you kind of set a variable in PHP and you can't access it with Leaf. So that's kind of something you won't run into, because we use a native PHP function. Yeah, okay. So that's a little bit about how we handle all of those. So yeah, I think for the next steps, I've kind of given what we are going to be working on. So for leave, the few in the next coming few weeks, we'll have more scaffolds available for you. We'll have the leave deploy command, um, and then hopefully some performance updates. And then schema files are also getting a few updates to let you just work with PHP. Um, yeah, so you can write your migrations and your seeders with PHP, and then just import them into your schema files directly. Yeah, basically. So those are a few updates we should look forward to. Um, yeah, there's a lot more work to do, but then as I mentioned, our only goal is to just help you build faster. So anything to help you build faster is what we're going to do. So um, yeah, so just stay tuned for our next couple of updates. Next week I think we should build something using Leaf as a micro framework. I haven't actually built anything um with like micro framework Leaf in quite a while. I think the last time was late last year. So it might be fun to do. So yeah, let's actually do that. And then actually it might be fun to also compare it to building the same thing with Slim. and flight. So Slim and Flight are really oh sheesh. I just kind of always assume Google knows what I'm talking about. Yeah, so Slim and Flight are really amazing micro frameworks. I personally used Slim a lot before Leaf. And then Slim was kind of like a lot of inspiration for Leaf. So the router, stuff like that. It's pretty much the same. Um, and then I've noticed Flight is also like really, really impressive. So yeah, it might be fun to just build something with micro framework Leaf, Slim, and then Flight, and then just see which looks more natural. So yeah, maybe we'll do that next week. Um, yeah. Oh, it's already been 45 minutes. Okay. So I don't know if there are any questions from you guys, anything here. I would continue on Discord for a little bit. So if you have any more questions, you can just pop them in and I'll take care of them. Otherwise, I am just ending the stream here and then we can pick up next week. Yeah, so let's actually try to do something fun next week with Slim and then Flight and just base Leaf. That might be fun. Okay. So I will catch you guys next week. This was a pretty short hangout, but that's just an update on what's going on with Leaf right now. So once again, don't forget it. If you do have something you want to sell online without all of the hassle from Stripe or your payment platform, um, just hop on to sell.online and then join the wait list. We'll send out invites over the weekend. So from tomorrow um, all the way to Monday. Um, yeah. So you can just test it out and then give us feedback to improve it before our official launch. And that would be very much appreciated. So yeah, that's pretty much it for me. I will catch you guys next week. Happy weekend. Okay.